It's always so funny how life works. A couple of weeks ago, or no, it's been like a month now. At New Hampshire, we're talking about Ty Gibbs as a teammate. Him and Denny Hamlin get into it. They have an on-track incident. They're racing really hard, and there's whatever. That whole thing happens. Hamlin dumps Gibbs. And here we are a month later at Talladega. Chase Briscoe has a spot in the Final Four on the line, looking for his first super speedway win, his first Talladega win. And what happens? Ty Gibbs is right there to shove him to victory and be a great teammate. I mean, it's truly really, really funny how things work out. But yes, Chase Briscoe picked up his first Talladega win at the end of this race. Now, Talladega can be wacky. Talladega can be insane. We see guys go from the most random positions to win, but Chase Briscoe, it's not that he wasn't on the radar to win, but he restarted sixth on that last restart with 2 to go, and it's not like everyone wrecked in front of him or he made some insane move. He just kind of slowly got up there. Then he was on row 2. Then Kyle Larson runs out of gas, and in the process, just the inside line just loses all momentum. And then all of a sudden, Chase Briscoe, he's in prime position to win this thing. They get to the tri-oval. No one had a shot. Ty Gibbs gave Chase Briscoe that shove in the tri-oval, and as a result, Chase Briscoe runs off. No photo finish, no challenge. He didn't even really have to block. Briscoe gets the win at Talladega, makes his first Final Four in his first season with Joe Gibbs Racing. Man, oh man, could you imagine? I mean, it's happened before. Someone leaves, goes to a new team, and they win in their first year. Kyle Larson, 2021. Kevin Harvick, SHR, 2014. But Chase Briscoe, I remember last year. Some people, it was the internet, so, you got to factor that in. But, there were some doubters saying, hey, does Chase Briscoe really deserve a JGR seat? Well, here we are, October of 2025. He has 3 wins this season. He's led the third most laps in the entire NASCAR Cup Series this season. And he's going to be, at worst, 4th in the points. And he's had a pretty remarkable second half of the season. When you look at that first half, there were some inconsistencies. There were some growing pains. But in the early summer is when they started to figure it out. The top 10 at Mexico. They win at Pocono. They get a couple of runner-ups in a row at Sonoma and Dover. Another runner-up at Iowa. Another top 5 at Watkins Glen. Then we get into the playoffs. He wins the playoff opener, his second Southern 500 win. Runner-up at Gateway, top 10 at Bristol, top 10 at New Hampshire, 4th at Kansas. His worst finish since the playoffs started has been 14th, and that was at the Roval. Every other finish outside of that 14th has been a top 10. That's insane. This run he has been on has been insane, and not just the playoff run. As I said, since the early summer, there's a couple bad results, and then there's a 35th at Atlanta. He was in that big wreck, I'm assuming. 23rd at Daytona, 23rd at Chicago. But outside of that, the results have been insane. As I just said, top 5s, top 10s, runner-ups, wins. This team got hot at the right time. They started to figure it out about a little bit before the halfway point, a little bit right around the halfway point, and they haven't really slowed down. It's been extremely impressive. They've kind of flown under the radar too. As I said, it's not like they've been dominating a ton of races. It's not like they have 7 or 8 wins all of a sudden. They've won 2 races in this span, but they've led a lot of laps. I know he led a lot at Darlington, and that's taking up a chunk. But he's led laps at Bristol. He's led laps, I think, at Gateway, Talladega, Vegas. He's led at a variety of tracks. This 19 team, point being, they've put together something special these last 15 or so races, and they now have a chance to cap it off with the championship. Chase Briscoe, in his first year, is in the Final Four with Joe Gibbs Racing. 3 wins on the season in a spectacular second half of 2025, but Hendrick Motorsports, it went wrong. Yeah, they led some laps today. Yeah, they were in position at the end, but oh my goodness, did it go wrong. And really, it wasn't like it was a bad move that caused a wreck. It's not like there was poor teamwork or something. It's just the circumstances in the last half lap, just everything collapsed. Now, if we want to talk about Chase Elliott, everything ended early. Chase Elliott involved in a stage 1 wreck when Eric Jones had a bad push on, I think it was Noah Gragson. That triggered really our only big one of the day. Chase Elliott gets involved. His day is done on lap 40-something, 50-something. He finishes dead last, no stage points. So now he's in a must-win. Well, the thing for Byron and Larson is that they survived the entire day. They scored stage points. They were up front. They restarted this final restart on the front row. Well, when we come over here to the results, why do I have to scroll so far down to 25th and 26th? Because as I said, that last half lap disaster, it all went wrong for him. Kyle Larson knew they were close on fuel. Cliff Daniels had told him there was, as always in this next gen era, fuel saving is a big thing at these super speedways. They can make it to the end of regulation, but making it through an overtime was going to be extremely close. Well, we had an overtime, and what happened was Larson was leading, or he was on the front row. Like him and I think it was Bubba were side by side heading down the backstretch. He had a teammate, Byron, shoving him. Larson runs out of fuel. Half a lap to the checkered flag, runs out of fuel, and as a result, of course, when he runs out of fuel, he slows down and backs up, and that just jacks up the inside line behind him. William Byron, that essentially eliminates his chances at winning, but he can still salvage a decent finish. He could probably get a top 10, maybe a top 15. Well, then Byron in the tri-oval gets dumped and ends up going back there in the mid-20s with Larson, and as a result, both Hendrick cars finish 25th and 26th. So Larson's actually still in a good point situation. Now, if he doesn't run out of fuel, sure, you could argue he could win. Sure, you could argue, oh, he could have wrecked anyways and still finished back there. But let's say he finishes 11th. Now, then we'd have to play the hypothetical of what happens with Byron. But all of a sudden, Larson's got like a 50-point gap, and next week is stress-free. Well, now it's not. Because, well, we're going to invert this. Usually we do the race results first, points results second. Today we're doing points results first. Because when we come over here to the points results, look, yes. Denny Hamlin and Chase Briscoe, they have won. They are advanced. Good for them. Cool. We'll talk about you in 2 weeks. But when we look at everything else, if we don't have a new winner, there's no excitement. Like, straight up, Larson and Bell, they're in. The only way that they don't make it is a mechanical failure in stage 1, because both of these guys are going to be scoring stage points at worst. Like, they're going to be in the top 5 more than likely, if not the top 10. So, as I said, if one of these bottom 4 doesn't win, this is your final 4. You're looking at the final 4: Briscoe, Hamlin, Bell, Larson. However, with this format, if there is a new winner, that's where things spice up. And the thing is, all bottom 4 could very well win. Blaney's won the last 2 Martinsville fall races. Chase Elliott, Martinsville, I would say, is his best track. He has a very good chance at winning. Joey Logano has an insane top 10 streak at Martinsville. He's also led a lot of laps there in the next-gen car. And then William Byron, he's won multiple races at Martinsville in the next-gen car. So any one of these 4 could win next week. It's a very good possibility. And if that were to happen, throw any one of those 4 names into victory lane next week, well, then it comes down to Bell and Larson. And right now, only 1 point separates them. So next week, those stage points are going to be extremely important. Now, Bell's won this fall Martinsville race before. Kyle Larson is a past Martinsville winner. But remember what happened last year. Bell had a horrendous Martinsville fall race, had to do that 1/4 wall ride, got kicked out of the final 4, and race manipulation. But as I said, I expect both of these guys to be elite next week, top 5 probably. And if it comes down to a new winner, then that points race is going to be spicy. But as I said, outside of that, your final 4 is Briscoe, Hamlin, Bell, Larson. Now when we come over to the results of the races, I'm going to do my best not to hit the wall this week. I've done that the last couple of weeks. Chase Briscoe's your winner. That's career win number 5, I want to say. That sounds right. But the Chase Briscoe story is incredible. This is a guy, as we all know, he was sleeping on couches, trying to get into the sport somehow, some way, trying to drive cars somehow, some way, made his way up through the ranks, got an opportunity at SHR to drive Xfinity cars, goes out in 2020 and wins 9. I think he won 9 Xfinity races that year, showcased his talent, won at all different types of tracks. He was insane. Gets promoted to Cup. Wins a Cup race at Phoenix in 2022 with SHR. But when he got promoted to SHR, while his career trajectory was doing this, SHR's trajectory was doing this. They were a dying team. So SHR never gave him the competitive equipment, but he showed that he had the talent to be in competitive equipment. That Southern 500 victory last year. Now, he had already signed the deal with JGR, but that was kind of like a prove it. Like, this is why I deserve that JGR seat. Well, this year with JGR, we already listed all the stats earlier. 3 wins, the insane second half of the season that this team has had. Well, he hasn't capped it off yet. There's still 2 races to go. But he about caps it off with a win at Talladega, locking himself into the Final Four. He's led all these laps this season. It's been a very, very fun story following Chase Briscoe this year. Todd Gilliland, there he is. Todd Gilliland has been a great super speedway driver in his Cup Series career. Last year, really showcased it, led a ton of laps, had some really good qualifying results. I think he even had a pole. Front row was on it last year on the super speedways. This year, they've been a little bit off of their game. Todd hasn't led as many laps, and I think Zane Smith had a pole somewhere in there, but outside of that, FRM not as relevant on the super speedways. But today, Todd Gilliland was making moves. Qualified 27th. That was a little bit odd. But in the race, led 11 laps, was up front, was in contention for the win. Very good result for Todd Gilliland. And Ty Gibbs, teammate of the week. Teammate of the week. Ty Gibbs, as I said, just a month after everyone giving him a ton of crap and, all this controversy between him and Denny Hamlin and things having to be handled behind closed doors and short PR statements coming out from the drivers because, they didn't want to get into it and have it be in public air. Ty Gibbs, as I said, wins teammate of the week. Maybe he'll be teammate of, I was going to say teammate of the year, maybe teammate of the lifetime if Chase Briscoe is able to win the championship in 2 weeks. But Ty Gibbs gives his teammate a huge shove. As a result, Briscoe's able to win with ease through the tri-oval. Ty Gibbs himself gets a top 5 finish. Really good result for him. Bubba Wallace 4th. Look at the Toyota. 3 of the top 5. 5 of the top 8. Really good day for them. Cole Custer, another top 5 at the Super Speedway. Almost won Daytona a couple months ago. Now at the top 5. Hey, really good job by him. Carson Hocevar was up there late. He was right behind Byron when that whole kind of stack-up thing happened. Reddick 7th, Bell 8th. Bell in a great points position. But as I said, if there's a new winner, that's when things get freaky, I guess. Zane Smith with a top 10. Really good day for him. As I said, FRM really good at these super speedways. So a double top 10 for FRM. Brad Keselowski at the top 10. We don't have to talk about how good he is at Talladega. SVG with a solid top 15 result. Finishes 11th there at the end. Had a really bizarre incident. We'll break this down more tomorrow night on the Monday after on our live stream. But coming down pit road, it at first looked like he just locked it up. Just completely whiffed pit entry. But upon further review, there were weepers on the track from rain earlier this morning that they did not fully dry up. And as a result, he spun out and got stuck in the grass. As I said, we'll break that down more thoroughly. But they overcame that for an 11th place finish. Trackhouse, just 11th, 12th, 13th. Suarez, Chastain, okay. Good for them. John Hunter Nemechek, Ryan Preece, Joey Logano, they got DQ'd in the spring after finishing 2nd and 3rd. Let's see if they survive after finishing next to each other yet again. Michael McDowell. I guess I should go back to Logano because Logano is still in the championship hunt. This was his opportunity, if you ask me. Another Joey Logano Talladega race where he leads a bunch of laps, scores a bunch of stage points, and finishes down the order. Like, no, he didn't wreck this time, and no, he didn't finish in the 20s or whatever, but once again, looked like he had a great car, potentially a race-winning car. They're able to put great first 90% of races together, but it's the last 10% when just somehow, some way, it falls apart. Whether they get wrecked, whether they didn't estimate the fuel right, like just something goes wrong for them. These Penske cars are the best at the super speedways, but as I said, late in the race, they just, except for Talladega earlier this year and Daytona a couple of months ago. Outside of that, yeah, usually falls apart. Michael McDowell, Casey Mears, dude, Casey Mears, a top 20 in the 66 car in 2025. I did not think I'd ever be saying those words. Holy crap. Casey Mears with the top 20. That's 66 car. That's like a win for them. That is a fantastic result for them. Fantastic result for Casey Mears. I mean, what a drive, what a job. Round of applause. They beat Kyle Busch. Well, you know, some people might argue that, but Kyle Busch had great speed in this race, led 26 laps. Like, they beat Ryan Blaney. They beat a Penske car. Wow. Casey Mears 18th. Wow. Kyle Busch, Ty Dillon, Anthony Alfredo, Austin Hill, Ryan Blaney. Yeah, Blaney's got to win at Martinsville. Same stories. Logano. Denny Hamlin this week did not matter for him. Did not matter. Byron and Larson we already kind of touched on. Yeah, they looked really good here late. They led laps, scored some points. But when it came to the last half lap, it just completely collapsed for him. So Byron has to win to make it next week. Larson just needs a repeat winner or a non-playoff winner. So, or himself. I guess himself would also fit that equation. Austin Dillon, BJ McLeod, get loud for McLeod on the top 30. Alex Bowman, Chris Buescher, hard hit, just 2 laps to go in regulation. Cody Ware had some mechanical failure. Riley Herbst, same story, mechanical failure. Josh Berry, same story, mechanical failure. And then here's where we get to all the guys who were wrecked. Austin Cindric, Eric Jones, Noah Gragson, AJ Allmendinger, he is okay. He got out of the car, was laying next to the car. I believe he is okay. I think he got checked and released. Stenhouse, Haley, and then last Chase Elliott. As I said, Elliott's great at Martinsville. He could win that one. But yes, we expected this Talladega race, the spot it is with the format that we had. We kind of went into this year thinking, oh, there's going to be that one breakaway driver. Like last year was Larson. 2 years ago was Byron. 3 years ago was Elliott, where you'd have that guy who's been the best driver, best car, best team all year long. And that they'd come into this race with a huge points cushion, a huge points advantage, and they'd get caught up in a wreck, and then things wouldn't go their way at Martinsville, and they don't even get a chance to fight for the championship because of the format and where they place Talladega. Well, we didn't really have that. So I guess that's good. Maybe, I don't know. Does anyone have any objections to that? I don't know. If we're going to keep this format, yeah, could we not have Talladega here? Because I still fear that outcome. Anywho. Next week, we do have Martinsville. 2 races left before a champion is decided. Meanwhile, in F1, whew, dude, is Max Verstappen really going to overcome a 104-point deficit? Is McLaren going to choke that thing away? That's a championship battle right there that you can't miss. So, thanks for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll see you in the next one. Tomorrow, the Monday after, we'll do our SVG recap and any other news I will let you know throughout the week.